Bill Hamilton is drinking a lethal cocktail of lies and poison, and the ticking time bomb in his veins is about to detonate in a brutal, explosive clash of betrayal. This is war. Everything just changed. If you thought the aftermath of the devastating tornado was the most destructive force to hit Fairmont Crest, you are dead wrong. The real storm is brewing inside the Hamilton mansion, and the casualty is going to be none other than the arrogant patriarch himself, Bill Hamilton. The walls are closing in, the truth is bubbling to the surface, and we are witnessing a masterclass in psychological warfare and attempted murder. Let me set this absolutely shocking scene for you. Bill Hamilton, the man who thinks he is an invincible god among mortals, has finally realized that his body is failing him. After weeks of stumbling, slurring his words, and experiencing terrifying hand tremors, the mighty lawyer has been brought to his knees. The catalyst? That innocent-looking green smoothie handed to him by his loving, devoted wife, Haley. We all saw him drink it. We all saw him collapse. And now, the terrifying reality of that collapse has forced Bill to do the unthinkable, ask for help in secret. In a move fueled by sheer desperation and suffocating paranoia, Bill sneaks into Dr. Madison Montgomery's private office. Just picture this. The powerful, untouchable CEO slipping through the hospital corridors like a fugitive, terrified that someone might see him looking weak. He sits across from Madison and finally confesses the dark truth. He tells her about the collapse. He tells her about the intense, violent reaction his body had immediately after consuming Haley's so-called health smoothie. He is a man searching for a medical excuse, completely blind to the sinister reality staring him right in the face. Madison, being the brilliant and dedicated professional she is, doesn't just brush this off. She dives deep into the archives. She pulls up his old blood records, the ones from earlier this year when everyone thought he was just stressed, the ones from the day he inexplicably lost his ability to speak during that brutal deposition with Mike Davis. Madison analyzes the data, cross-references the numbers, and what she finds is nothing short of horrifying. There are strange, unnatural toxin levels in. This isn't a natural decline. This isn't a stroke caused by high blood pressure. This is a foreign substance. This is poison. The sheer panic that must have washed over Madison's face in that moment is unimaginable. She is staring at the blood work of a man who is actively being murdered from the inside out. Bill versus Madison, the ultimate standoff. When Madison reveals these terrifying anomalies to Bill, how does he react? Does he panic for his life? Does he call the police? Does he immediately pack his bags and run away from his venomous wife? Absolutely not. In the display of staggering, infuriating arrogance, Bill's first instinct is to protect his corporate throne. Bill looks Madison dead in the eye and vehemently demands that she keep this explosive medical discovery a total secret. He expressly forbids her from breathing a single word of this to his daughters, Chelsea and Naomi. Why? Because this arrogant fool is terrified of losing control of his law firm. He knows that if Naomi, who he just entrusted to look after his company and inheritance, finds out his brain and body are failing due to mysterious toxins, she will invoke her power of attorney and strip him of his CEO title. He would rather risk dropping dead in his office chair than let his daughter see him as a weak, vulnerable old man. Can you believe the absolute sheer audacity of this man? He is digging his own grave with his bare hands just to keep a grip on his precious company. This places Madison in the most agonizing, soul-crushing dilemma imaginable. This is a brutal war between her medical ethics, her professional duty, and her personal life. Madison is deeply romantically involved with Chelsea Hamilton. How in the world is she supposed to go home, look into Chelsea's eyes, and share a romantic evening, knowing that Chelsea's father is being slowly, methodically murdered? How can she sit across from Naomi, who is already battling the terrifying reality of her BRCA-positive diagnosis, and hide the fact that their father is carrying lethal toxins in his veins? Madison is trapped in a suffocating nightmare, forced to choose between breaking patient confidentiality and becoming a silent accomplice to a murder. Madison versus Haley, the invisible war. But Madison is no fool. As she sits in her office, processing the shocking toxin levels, the puzzle pieces start snapping together in her brilliant mind with explosive clarity. She remembers the past. She remembers the herbal tea that Haley was so adamant about feeding Bill. The very same tea that preceded his terrifying TIA symptoms, the tremors, and his inability to speak during the deposition. And now? Now Haley has suddenly introduced a rigorous, aggressive daily diet and extreme cardio workout routine for a man who just got out of the hospital, a man whose blood is compromised. Madison realizes with bone-chilling certainty that this is not a health regimen. This is an execution plan. Haley is intentionally trying to overexert Bill's weakened, poisoned heart to trigger a massive, fatal cardiovascular event. It is a master class in slow burn assassination. Madison looks at Bill with absolute desperation and delivers a chilling warning. She tells him, in no uncertain terms, that he must immediately stop the daily diet and workout routine that Haley has set out for him. She explains that the regimen is highly inappropriate, dangerously aggressive, and if he continues to subject his compromised body to it, the consequences will be severe, irreversible, and fatal, especially given his history of stroke-like symptoms. Madison is essentially screaming at him to save his own life. She suspects deep in her gut that Haley is the venomous snake orchestrating this entire nightmare. She knows Haley is actively harming him, but the tragic, infuriating reality is that Madison doesn't have the concrete, undeniable proof to legally accuse Haley of attempted murder. Not yet. She is fighting a ghost, trying to save a man who refuses to be saved. Bill versus reality. The fatal blindness. And here is where the tragedy reaches its absolute peak. Bill Hamilton, a man who prides himself on being the smartest, most perceptive lawyer in the room, is completely and utterly blind to the monster sleeping in his bed. He firmly rejects any insinuation that his wife is trying to kill. Instead, he stubbornly insists that he just needs to find a new diet to regain his strength. He rationalizes the collapse. He excuses the toxins. He genuinely believes that he is just going through a rough patch and that a simple adjustment to his meals will fix everything. The monumental delusion of this man is staggering. He is so consumed by his own ego, so obsessed with his corporate image, and so distracted by his lingering, messy feelings for his ex-wife Danny that he cannot see the knife Haley is slowly twisting into his back. Think about the savage irony here. Just days ago, Bill was trapped in an elevator with Danny, hooking up with her, feeling like an invincible, virile alpha male. He was bragging to Haley about his stamina, playing twisted psychological games, and taunting Danny about their secret affair. He thinks he is the puppet master, pulling the strings of all the women in his life. But in reality, he is the puppet, and Haley is gleefully cutting his strings one by one. Haley is sitting in that mansion right now, mixing her lethal concoctions, smiling her fake, devoted smile, and watching her husband slowly wither away. She is a ruthless, cold-blooded predator, and Bill is willingly drinking her poison because his arrogance won't allow him to admit he made a fatal mistake in marrying her. What is Madison going to do? The pressure is mounting to an unbearable degree. She is holding a secret that could blow the entire Hamilton family to pieces. If she tells Chelsea, it will destroy her relationship and violate her medical oath, potentially ending her career right as she steps into her new power at the hospital. But if she stays silent, Bill Hamilton is going to end up in a body bag, and Haley will walk away with a $10 million life insurance payout and a sickening smile on her face. This is a ticking time bomb of epic proportions. The tension is suffocating, the stakes are life and death, and the betrayal is absolute. Will Madison find the definitive proof she needs to expose Haley before it's too late? Will Bill's colossal ego finally shatter when he realizes his loving wife is his executioner? Or will Haley's sinister, venomous plot succeed, leaving a trail of devastation and grief in its wake? The battle lines are drawn. The poison is poured. The clock is ticking down to 0. Do not miss what happens next, because Fairmont Crest is about to explode.